In the gaming community, certain series consistently emerge as fan favorites when discussions turn to which franchises are overdue for a new installment. Titles like Half-Life, Portal, and Elder Scrolls often top the list due to their iconic status and the high expectations of their fan bases. Wipeout, known for its fast-paced anti-gravity racing, and Bully, a cult classic from Rockstar Games, also see significant demand from dedicated followers. Similarly, Days Gone, despite its mixed reception, has its own dedicated fanbase, eager for a continuation of its post-apocalyptic narrative. Amidst this clamor for sequels to established franchises, Dishonored stands out as a noteworthy case. Released in 2012, the original Dishonored quickly gained acclaim for its inventive blend of stealth, action, and supernatural elements. Its sequel, Dishonored 2, which debuted in 2016, further solidified the series' reputation by expanding its gameplay mechanics and narrative depth. Despite the success of these titles, recent years have seen a shift in focus for Arcane Studios. The release of Deathloop in 2021, set in a similar universe but diverging in gameplay and style, represented a notable departure from the Dishonored formula. This shift, combined with the less favorable reception of Redfall, underscores a period of uncertainty for the studio. Nonetheless, Dishonored remains a standout success within Arcane's portfolio, largely due to its exceptional replayability and innovative design elements that continue to resonate with players. The original Dishonored, released in 2012, introduced players to a richly immersive world, blending stealth and action with supernatural elements. Set in the plague-ridden city of Dunwall, the game follows Corvo Attano, a royal bodyguard framed for the murder of the Empress he served. Using a combination of stealth, combat, and supernatural abilities granted by the mysterious outsider, players must navigate a complex narrative of revenge and political intrigue. The game was praised for its distinctive art style, intricate level design, and the freedom it offered players in how they approached objectives. Its success established a solid foundation for what would become a critically acclaimed series. Building on its predecessor's success, Dishonored 2 was released in 2016 and expanded the universe with even more depth and complexity. The game introduces two playable characters, Emily Calwin, the rightful Empress, and her guardian, Corvo Attano. Each character has unique supernatural abilities and playstyles, providing a fresh experience depending on who the player chooses. Emily's powers focus on mobility and direct combat, while Corvo's abilities emphasize stealth and strategic maneuvering. The dual perspectives not only offer diverse gameplay options, but also contribute to high replayability. Players can experience different story outcomes based on their choices and the character they control, encouraging multiple playthroughs. The game's appeal lies in its open-ended approach to objectives, where players can choose between lethal and non-lethal methods, influencing the game world and narrative in significant ways. The high replayability is further enhanced by the varied playstyles allowed, such as stealth, combat, or a mix of both, and by the distinct powers and upgrades available to each character. This design ensures that each playthrough can feel unique, adding substantial value to the game's replayability. Deathloop, released in 2021, is another title from Arcane Studios, set in the same universe as Dishonored. While it shares thematic and stylistic similarities, Deathloop introduces a new twist with its time loop mechanic, where players must break out of a repeating cycle by eliminating targets within a single day. The game maintains Arcane's signature focus on player choice and creative problem-solving, but is distinct in its approach to narrative and gameplay structure. In contrast to the critical acclaim of Dishonored and Deathloop, Arcane's release of Redfall in 2023 was met with disappointment. The game failed to capture the innovative spirit and quality associated with Arcane's previous titles, leading to mixed reviews and criticism. This misstep highlights the challenges even established studios face in maintaining consistent quality and innovation across different projects. The underperformance of Redfall suggests a potential need for Arcane to revisit and refine their approach to ensure future successes, possibly by drawing on the strengths demonstrated in their earlier work, such as the Dishonored series. Dishonored 2 is celebrated for its exceptional replayability, largely driven by its versatile playstyles and approaches. The game offers players the freedom to engage with its world in multiple ways, reflecting a broad spectrum of player preferences. One significant aspect of this replayability is the choice between high and low chaos playthroughs. In a high chaos run, players typically engage in more lethal actions, such as indiscriminate killings and aggressive strategies, which impact the game's world and narrative. Conversely, a low chaos run emphasizes non-lethal methods and stealth, influencing the game's atmosphere and the political climate within the story. Additionally, players can opt for a pacifist approach, focusing exclusively on non-lethal takedowns and avoiding conflict whenever possible. This style contrasts sharply with the all-guns blazing approach, where players utilize the full range of firearms and explosives available, even though this method is less suited to the game's design. Each approach not only changes how players interact with the game's enemies, but also affects how they experience the game's narrative and environmental challenges. The influence of player choices on the outcome of Dishonored 2 is profound and multifaceted. Central to the game's narrative are two protagonists, Corvo Attano and Emily Calwin, each offering distinct storylines based on player choice. The decision to play as either a character significantly alters the game's events and potential endings. This dichotomy ensures that each playthrough can offer a new perspective on the overarching story. Moreover, the choices players make regarding how they approach missions and interact with NPCs have tangible effects on the game's world. High chaos actions such as killing civilians and creating disorder lead to a more chaotic and unstable world, influencing enemy behavior and mission outcomes. Conversely, a low chaos approach helps maintain order, leading to a more controlled environment and affecting how NPCs react to the protagonist. These choices not only shape the immediate outcomes of missions, but also affect the broader narrative arcs, leading to different conclusions and altering the protagonist's relationships with other characters. The supernatural abilities of Corvo and Emily are central to the gameplay dynamics in Dishonored 2, enhancing both replayability and strategic depth. Each character comes with a unique set of powers that influence how players approach various challenges. Corvo's abilities, such as Blink, allow for rapid, short-range teleportation, making him well-suited for infiltration and stealth-based approaches. His powers can be upgraded to offer more strategic options, such as stopping time or incapacitating enemies, further diversifying gameplay. Emily, on the other hand, wields powers like Far Reach, which allows her to pull herself across distances or manipulate objects. Her abilities, including Domino and Shadow Walk, enable her to control multiple enemies simultaneously or blend into the shadows, respectively. The distinct powers of each character encourage players to experiment with different strategies and play styles, contributing to the game's high replay value. The impact of these abilities is significant as they offer alternative solutions to problems and open up various strategies for completing objectives. Whether players choose to employ stealth, leverage supernatural powers, or adopt a more direct combat approach, the game's design ensures that these choices lead to diverse experiences and outcomes, enriching the overall gameplay and narrative immersion. It's fascinating to reflect on how gaming has evolved and to remember the titles that defined an era. What do you think? Are there any classic games you wish would make a comeback or influence today's releases? If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane and want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Your support really helps the channel grow and allows us to keep exploring the world of gaming together.